The State of the City, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. commemoration, and safety around snowplows. This and more up next on this week's edition of Lexington Now. I'm Neil Noah, and this is Lexington Now. Mayor Jim Gray gave the annual State of the City address to citizens of Lexington to tell us where we've been in the last year and where we're going in the next.
When I was a boy growing up down in Glasgow, Lexington was the big city, a place you could go to get a great education, a place you could go to meet amazing, ambitious people, and a place where you could make big dreams come true. That's absolutely what Lexington has been for me as a businessman, and certainly in my job as mayor. Since this is my 8th State of the City address, just for a minute, I'd like to go back to my inaugural remarks from January the 2nd, 2011. We were still coming then out of the Great Recession. We'd been losing jobs. Unemployment had been as high as 9.3%. Our city's finances were tough and challenging. As I would talk to people across our community, there was anxiety. There was tension about the future. I understood that, but you all know this. In tough times, we always embrace a kind of stubborn optimism in Lexington, believing that things will get better because good people will work together to make them better. In times of adversity, the human spirit triumphs. It does not fail. So in my inaugural remarks that day, I offered this challenge. Let's make Lexington one of the greatest cities in America, one of the greatest places in the world. Will you join me in that effort? Will you work to make our city better? Will you band together to help us make the tough choices, to face the tough challenges? Will you become an ambassador for our city? Will you tell everyone who will listen, I'm from Lexington, I love Lexington. Here's what makes us special. It's a great place to live and work, to raise a family, to start a business. The people of Lexington responded with a resounding yes, and we worked together to make this optimistic vision of our city a reality. Yes, we've been getting things done, making progress the right way, through civility and respect for each and every person who calls our city home. Since 2011, we have moved from deep deficits to financial stability, from an underfunded police and fire pension to a sustainable one, from multi-million-dollar employee health care subsidies to responsible plans, and from higher unemployment to one of the lowest jobless rates in the country. We're taking better care of those who need our help the most through an affordable housing initiative. We've increased funding for social services. We've created a stronger social safety net, drug court, jobs for panhandlers, and help for those facing substance abuse. Our police and fire departments are fully staffed and have the best equipment and facilities. We were recognized in 2016 as the number 6 best managed city in the country, and again in 2017 as the 5th best managed city in the country. We're known as a great place to do business and is one of the top travel and food destinations in the country. Our success has come from focusing on 3 goals: creating jobs, running government efficiently, and building a great American city. So let's talk about them one at a time. Talk about getting things done. Since 2011, our economy has produced almost 20,000 new jobs. More people employed in Lexington than at any time in our history. Our investment in police this year represents an opportunity to increase our focus on community-oriented policing. We currently have an authorized strength of 630 sworn officers, which is higher, of course, than any time in Lexington's history. New officers and improved community policing will help us fight the violence that too often has resulted in shootings on our streets, shootings that are often fueled by illegal drugs and guns. Compared to other cities our size, Lexington is one of the safest cities in the country. We're thankful we don't have problems like Chicago and some other cities, but we do face our own challenges, and we all agree one loss is too many. So we are investing in new ideas and strategies and recognizing that ending violence takes more than just law enforcement. Recently, crime research has revealed that in a typical city with a population of 100,000, each additional nonprofit devoted to confronting violence leads to a roughly 1% drop in the city's homicide rate. Clearly, it will take all of us working together. Neighborhoods, schools, community groups, faith community, council members, courts, social service agencies, law enforcement, and more. Our firefighters are often our first line of defense in the opioid battle. The epidemic has put a heavy burden on our emergency medical crews, and this year we added a new emergency medical buggy, fully staffed. Fire Chief Kristen Chilton, I want to take a minute to brag on our firefighters. We recently earned one of the highest fire protection rankings in the country. That ranking reflects the dedication of our firefighters, and it also reflects the support they have from our city. Since 2011, we have invested $18 million to improve our firefighting equipment. An example is the new Rescue One truck, which responds to incidents that require specialized equipment. And in addition, we've opened a new training center, a new training tower, and our first new fire station since 2005. And we plan to open another one in 2019, this one in the Masterson Station area. Now, I often talk about the hard work and dedication I see every day from the public service professionals at the Urban County government. That's because it's a great team, and we have great partners to meet our third goal, building a great American city. Building a great American city. That's why we are expanding and renovating the convention center. This image shows the new entrance on Vine Street. This is one of the most significant public investments ever made in Lexington. And the project continues to move forward as we work on the financial package. Green space in parks and a clean environment are, of course, essential to quality of life. And that's why we are investing in water quality, where work is continuing on the largest infrastructure project in our city's history, rebuilding our city's leaking sanitary sewer system. With about 1/3 of the 116 planned projects complete or under construction, we are today $92 million under original estimates. This savings has come through value engineering, an ongoing analysis of each project with the goal of achieving the highest quality at the lowest price. I want to thank Dal Hoskins Squire, Charlie Martin, and Vernon Azevedo, who are overseeing this important project. I'm proud to say that the future of Lexington is bright, it is wide open, and it's ours to create together. It's all about seeing and believing.
You can catch the full address on our YouTube channel at LexTV. The Martin Luther King Jr. holiday is always a somber reminder of where we've been as a nation and where we still need to go in order to achieve Dr. Martin Luther King's ideal. Here are some highlights of this year's commemoration.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh,
I'm always a little bit nervous because even though I know which Dr. King I came here to remember, and I am fully aware of the one I came to commemorate and the legacy to which I intend to speak, I don't really have any idea why the rest of the folks in the room came. I don't know which Dr. King you're here to remember. Because see, even though there was only one Dr. King in history, there are several in memory, are there not? And memory is a tricky, tricky thing. Memory will shift on you. Memory will change on you as you get older. As all the older folks in this room, we can attest, the stuff that you remembered really well 20 years ago, you forget today. And so 50 years after they put the man in the ground, it has become extraordinarily easy to have this celebration all over the country and have it attended by presidents who know nothing of the legacy and congresspersons who know nothing of the legacy and people who were alive back then but didn't lift a finger and didn't march and didn't raise their voice and never did anything to carry on this legacy. But they'll go to church on the Sunday before today and they'll pray to a God who they claim to believe in, even as they go back to work on Tuesday after the holiday and vote for more weapons of war and less health care for poor people. And they see no contradiction between their words and their actions. They see no hypocrisy between praising this man today and doing what they do the other 364 days out of the year. If they had any shame, they would stay home today. They would not darken the doors of a church. And they would not come to an MLK celebration to commemorate a man about whom they know nothing. But now I know why I'm here. Poll after poll today continues to find that the vast majority of white Americans don't understand this any better than we did 50 years ago, when those polls said that the movement was unnecessary, when those polls said everything was fine. In 1963, white folks told the Gallup organization, 2 out of 3 white folks said that black people, even in 63, had just as good a chance to get a good job and a good education and good housing as white folks. Now, this was before the Civil Rights Act was even passed, y'all. Before the Voting Rights Act was passed, before the Fair Housing Act was passed. This poll was taken before the March on Washington. So in other words, what white Americans were saying is everything's fine. When Dr. King gets up there and gives that I Have a Dream speech, white folks are watching it going, I don't get it. What's he dreaming about? Everything's fine here in America, right? We didn't understand it even when it was right in front of us. And I guess my problem is I have a hard time believing that suddenly white folks who never saw the problem, even when it was obvious, I have a hard time believing that suddenly we're the ones who were highly perceptive. Right? I have a hard time believing that suddenly we're the ones who see things clearly when our ancestors didn't even see it clearly when it was blatant. Black folks knew the truth. They were right. I have a hard time believing that black and brown folks suddenly lost their minds and can't discern truth from fiction. You see, I just find that hard to believe. So as long as black folks are still being killed by law enforcement 3 times as often as white folks per capita, even when unarmed and posing no threat to the officer, we're going to march. And as long as white households continue to have 15 times the net worth of black households on average, white households 15 times the net worth of black households, 12 times the net worth of Latino households, we're going to march. Because in that particular data, there's even a scarier point hiding: the typical household headed by a white high school dropout. The typical household white headed by a high school dropout has more wealth on average than a typical black household headed by a college graduate, y'all. So tell me the one again about how all black folks need to do is stay in school and everything will be fine, get your degree and everything will be fine. No, until we actually talk about what Dr. King talked about, which was the redistribution of power away from those who have hoarded it for so long and toward those who have been shut out of that part of the American dream. That data will continue to haunt us and will continue to tell us exactly the direction in which we must go. But yet we persist in denying all this.
It's been too hard living, and I'm afraid I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come.
Watch for the full program at a later date here on Lex TV. When we come back, safety around snowplows.
We have more miles of running water than any state in the continental U.S. You may not know it, but all our streams catch water directly from storm sewers on our streets. When someone tosses a cigarette butt on Main, it could end up in Town Branch. Don't trash the bluegrass.
This is Tom Leach. A team plays their best when they're prepared. They have a plan so they know what to do to win. Just like a winning team, your family needs to be prepared for emergencies, severe weather, power outages, flooding, and fires. The Kentucky Emergency Management Association, along with your local emergency management agency, want you to be prepared. Be aware of potentially dangerous conditions. Put together an emergency kit for your home, office, and vehicle. Have a family emergency plan and update it regularly. For more information, visit kyema.org.
Welcome back to the show. Snow and ice can strike at any time this time of year, and Rob Allen gives us a few tips on how to stay safe around snowplows.
You really need to give them what we call room to work.
That's the advice Rob Allen has for drivers around snowplows.
The addition of a plow to a truck can add an additional 12 feet to the length of the vehicle, which creates blind spots to either side. So we ask folks to, be patient, give a buffer to a snowplow, be aware that this is a large vehicle, driving conditions, visibility can be reduced, and they have some blind spots. So be a defensive driver anytime you're around a snowplow. At night, if the plow is in the raised position and we're just salting, the plow actually blocks the headlights, and that's why we have the special lights on top of the plow to help. But you're talking, some reduced visibility and some angles are different, and that's why we tend to go slower. At the very least, 10 miles below the posted speed limit, and certainly it doesn't hurt, for example, if you're passing one, to give a little tap on the horn so the driver's aware that you're there and they're not shifting lanes.
In addition to reduced visibility for plow operators, there are other considerations.
It adds a lot of weight to the vehicle, so the stopping distance, especially if that truck is loaded with salt, you'll notice our vehicle's slowing down a lot further away from red lights or stop signs and things like that, especially in neighborhoods.
Mr. Allen explains that there are other ways to help in snowplow operations, even when you're not on the road.
One of the easiest things to help us is not to park on the street. If I know it's convenient, we do it at our house, especially if you have multiple drivers parking in the street because you're leaving first. But if you can get off-road or off of a snow route onto a neighborhood street even, it really helps those drivers. Certainly there are some videos available as far as how you can clear your driveway and to the left of your driveway so the plow doesn't create a furrow across the front of your driveway apron and kind of block you in. And just generally trying to, if you don't have to be out, don't go out, or wait until daylight hours when, you don't have that reduced visibility factor.
Mr. Allen goes on to tell us what factors go into the decision of where plows operate in the city's snow plan.
There are several factors that go in towards prioritizing the volume of traffic and the size of the road. For example, a major road, which is a major artery both in and out of the city, the facilities located along that road, major employment centers, and then also the transportation network. How does this link into the state road system for transportation in and out of Fayette County and the region as a whole? We try to work through the plan from priority 1 to priority 4, and 4 is usually a neighborhood collector street. So folks need to understand the plan is designed to be completed 24 to 36 hours after the precipitation stops, and that we will work through the ranks. Now sometimes we'll actually start at 4s and work our way back to 1. For example, if we've been able to pre-treat the major roads and we haven't been able to pre-treat neighborhood roads, we'll start in there and work our way out, trying to do our best to make it safe and allow people to have access to everything.
Mr. Allen has these final thoughts on ensuring a safe winter on the roads around snowplows.
Give them room to work. We'll go back to that. Be aware, these trucks are big, they're slow, they may have limited visibility because of weather conditions, and the main objective is safety for everyone. And give them a good buffer, and just take your time to get to where you're going.
You can check out the city snow plan on our website at lexingtonky.gov. For over 25 years, the Carnegie Center for Literacy and Learning has been a hub for writers and students alike. And Neil Chethik, the center's director, gives us a preview of what's on offer this winter at the center.
The Carnegie Center is a community space, and that's in a lot of ways why it came about. The building itself was essentially donated by the Carnegie Endowment back in 1904-05. And it served as this Lexington Library, the Lexington Public Library's main branch from 1905 all the way to 1989. At that time, they moved the library over to its current location at Phoenix Park, and this place was left abandoned. Out of that, Mayor Basler, Scotty Basler at the time, decided that this should continue to be used as a literary and literacy center. And he and the Carnegie Center worked out a deal with the library to develop this. In 2017, we celebrated our 25th anniversary. We are now engaged with 10 to 15,000 people per year, and that number is growing as the city grows. We're located in heart center of Lexington, just north of downtown, in a residential area with a beautiful park in our backyard. So we've just laid out our season for the beginning of 2018, and we're extremely excited about it. In January alone, we have the annual Martin Luther King Day celebration. All the people who tend to go over to the march right afterwards at 12:30, the Carnegie Center has continually had a event for 3 hours, mostly for kids and families, and they basically get to dig deeper into the MLK Jr. legacy. And then on January 31st, this year we have the induction ceremony for the Kentucky Writers Hall of Fame. The Carnegie Center is the location for the Hall of Fame. This is our 6th year, and we have thus far only had 5 living inductees, and this one, our 5th, is Bell Hooks. She's a writer from Berea, or at least she lives in Berea now, and she is an internationally known, brilliant black feminist writer. And she will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The public is invited to that. It's at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, January 31st at the Carnegie Center. Starting in early January, we begin our season of classes, and those include writing classes, language classes, and lots of enrichment classes for children. So on the adult side, if you are thinking about writing, if you like to write, if you are in a writing group but would like to have more feedback, if you have a book that's ready to roll, those are the kind of things that we can help writers with. We have classes in fiction, nonfiction, poetry. We've got one called The Power of a Great First Chapter, and we've also got one called Write a Novel in 6 Months. And those are just 2 of our newer classes. We have ongoing classes for other writers. On the language side, in addition to having several levels of Spanish and French, we also have introduction to German, Arabic, and Italian. So if you're looking for just a little bit to go to Germany or to go to Italy or to understand our world, Arabic, those are the kind of things that we offer to get people a taste. Our kids programming starts up in earnest again in January as well. Second week in January, we have classes that are sort of fun enrichment classes for kids who like math, who like reading, who like writing. We get them together with a very enthusiastic and inspiring instructor, and they work together on all those skills, trying to be even better than the average. And almost all of our children's classes are free or very low fee, about $5 or $10 at the most. And so we really encourage people of every income level to come here. We don't turn people away because they can't pay. And that's really at the core of our mission, which is to help children through imaginative learning processes to help them succeed in life and have fulfilling learning experiences.
The Urban County Council is back from winter break, and there are several meetings on the schedule this week to be televised, including the Board of Architecture Review meeting on Wednesday and the Council meeting on Thursday. You can watch these meetings live as well as our other programming right here on Lex TV channel 185 or on our live stream, and find any meeting archived at lexingtonky.gov/LexTV, or find any other programming on our YouTube channel at Lex TV. That's all for this edition of Lexington Now. You can keep up with what we're doing all week long on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And you can always get up-to-date traffic information on our Twitter handle at LexRex, or get a bird's eye view on our live traffic cams on the city's website at lexingtonky.gov. For the staff and producers at Lex TV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.